Right, I think that all looks fine. Well, I've got 15 in. It'd be enough for 3 hours, in theory, but it'd probably be more like 2.5. See how I go. Gear prop. That's home.
So an interesting one for you today. I ran out of fuel again. I'll let you see what happens to me in a minute. Flying with Dave on his BGD Lunar Wing. Also, there's a really interesting weather phenomenon that I want to show you and talk you through that later on. So it's a lovely morning. Winds are quite strong, probably 4 or 5 miles an hour, maybe a bit more than that. Could have done a reverse. So this is Chili's filmed to me from his phone. This is my takeoff. So the plan for this flight for me is to fly over to Grantham. It's about 70 to 75 mile flight. On the way I want to go over to Boston first, have a look at Boston, and then fly directly to Grantham and then back. Now I am aware I've got 15 litres of fuel with me, and I am aware that I may not make it back. I'm aware that my fuel burn is quite high. So when I get to Grantham, I immediately turn and do a beeline, well, basically a straight line all the way back to Wingland airfield. So let's see what happens. So just arriving at Boston now, and I see these lovely fluffy clouds, and I can't resist just going above those. Cloud base is probably around 2,000 feet, so flying over Boston here. Dave at this point peels off and heads back to Wingland, so I make a left turn and head straight for Grantham. So I cut most of this flight to Grantham out. It's just mainly fields. It just kind of looks like this. When I get to Grantham, I look at my fuel burn rate, and it's around 6 litres an hour. There's Belton House just outside Grantham. I can't get any closer because that's in a military aerodrome traffic zone. So I immediately turn back once I get to Grantham and head back to the airfield, and I go in a straight line. Now, after about half an hour to 3/4 of an hour, I look at my fuel burn and I don't think I'm going to make it back. I may just make it back, so I decide to look for places to land. I'm thinking at this point, shall I land here and here? So every moment now on the way back, I'm looking down and scanning the landscape and looking for a place where I can land into wind and next to a road so that I can be retrieved. And very, very shortly here, as you can see, there's the airfield, my fuel actually runs out. So I'm already prepared for landing. My trimmers are pulled in, my straps are all tight. Now I'm thinking to myself, where can I land now? I'm aware there are power lines in front of the airfield. So there's a little lane here. I'm thinking I can land on there because that's before the power lines. There's the airfield there. Now at this point I'm thinking actually I'm going to make it over the power lines. So here I go over the power lines. And I see this remote control aircraft is flying around. And I'm thinking to myself, that guy needs to keep out of my way. I don't have quite enough time to find out what the wind direction is, so I just kind of look on the ground at those gliders laid out. One is laid into wind and one is laid out the other way. But sadly, it was a bit of a tailwind landing, so I don't manage to land on my feet.
Run out of fuel? Yeah! Run out of fuel? And I thought, shit, I'm going to do a tailwind landing here.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
I saw this plane and I thought I've got to avoid that. Try and get into wind landing. I ran out of fuel right over there.
Had a nice glide back there.
Yeah.
Lovely.
I was thinking, shit.
Yeah, you are officially out of fuel. The wind has changed 3 directions in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So
I thought, I saw it, I'm going to do a crosswind landing. Came in a bit fast. On my knees.
I saw that, yeah, I thought, oh, it must be a learner.
Very nice. Nice wing that.
So I have a chat with Chili and Martin, and we spend a couple of hours tuning my engine, leaning it out and just trying to work out why my fuel burn is so high. So at this point I decide to go for a test flight, and as you can see the engine is dying on launch, so that shows me that we've leaned it too much. So we go back and we richen it again just a little bit more. So the plan for this one is I've weighed the motor, and I'm going to go up for exactly half an hour, and then the plan is to just kill the engine directly over the airfield at cruise power, and then have a look at the plug. So I've cut the engine now. I'm just going to come in for a landing and have a look at the plug and weigh the motor and see how much fuel I've used.
Nearly hit the spot.
Don't take it off, we're going to weigh you.
So turns out that I was still burning 6 litres an hour, so we leaned the motor a bit more. It also turns out a few of the nuts were slightly loose, the exhaust nuts and the cylinder head nuts. So tighten those up, and I'm going to go for a flight now. Now the weather at this point of the day got quite interesting, as we've got this kind of really cool sea breeze coming across the field, and it was blowing quite strong and a bit gusty, so it was about 8-9 miles an hour, maybe gusting 14-15. So I did have a bit of trouble trying to get launched, so I'm not a big fan of reverses, but I managed to get up in the end, and I see Sam, so I fly over to Sam. I look towards Hunstanton and I see I'm not going to make it, and then I see this kind of really murky, I thought it was rain coming down behind me. It was kind of odd. So this is a phenomenon. So we've got the cool sea breeze coming in, and then at a higher altitude the wind is blowing the opposite way, and we have this cloud curtain where the cool moist air meets the warm dry air on land, goes upwards. And if you look to the left there, you can see the cloud curtain. I was unaware, I did some research afterwards, of this phenomenon. Now, the wind was really, really strong low down across the ground because of the cool sea breeze. So at this point, I decided to come back to the airfield. I decided to abandon my plan to go to Hunstanton. Had I known what was going on, I could have climbed up to 1,500 or 2,000 feet, and I would have had a tailwind. So I was only doing about 15 miles an hour into wind, fully trimmed out. And then when I climbed up, I noticed that I was doing 38 miles an hour. So that was a really good learning experience about the weather, about the cloud curtain, about the onshore sea breeze at the end of the day. So yeah, that was really interesting. I found it absolutely fascinating. So coming for my landing, had 3 flights today, did about 4 hours of flying. A really, really great day. Thanks to Chili and Martin for helping me out with my motor.
Oh, what weird weather.
It was slightly odd.
I was speed barring over to Hunstanton, looked behind me and I thought, that looks so weird. Went up to 2,000 feet and the wind was blowing strongly the other way.
Hope you enjoyed. If you did like it, hit the like button, helps other people find the channel, and thanks for watching.